Hello, my name is Yngve and I'm standing in Maihaugen in Lillehammer, where we're producing this video on request from the Deutsche Historisches Museum. The museum in Berlin are collecting packing material for Ukraine, and we also have the support from Deffner and Johann that when we're talking now have shipped packing material to Ukraine to be used in the museums. In this short video we're going to show you how to pack objects in the traditional way that they used in the museums, but we are also going to show you how to improvise if you don't have all the material that we're going to show here. First we're going to show you how to lift and carry objects. Then we have a short cut in with the tools that you can need, a minimum of tools, and after that we go through the materials. It's also called the three-layer technique or three-layer principle for packing. The first thing you have to think about is how to carry and how to lift. If you have good gloves, use them. I choose not to show you now with gloves. Take off any hard things that you can have on your hands, like rings and watches, before you start to lift. The main principle is to always use two hands, both hands when you're lifting, and never lift up here. You always lift from below and support with both hands. And when you carry, you try to see where you're walking, you don't walk backwards. The same principle for objects. Here you have an object with loose parts. Then you should be sure that you can carry the weight and without scratching, lift with both hands. If necessary, take an assistant with you. If you lift glasses, the same thing. Always use two hands to secure one below, one in the middle or on the top. These things are old and can be fragile. Here we have things that are cracked, so it's even more important to support the object all the way to the transporting. A minimum of tools is required when you're working with materials. You should have a cutter, some kind of scissor. It's also good to have a measuring device so you don't spoil material. You can use tape or you can use stretch foil. It's also good to have a clamping device if you're going to secure information to a package. You need a good marker for marking the packaging, and you need paper, pen and pen for taking inventory. A good tool is also the camera in your mobile device. The three-layer techniques is displayed on this chart, which will be part of the video. And we make a difference between three-dimensional objects, two-dimensional objects, and different kind of storage. In this case, we're talking about storing in unclimatized rooms, and maybe not for eternity, but for a long time. The first layer is meant to protect against fingerprints, dust, scratches, and the material of choice is tissue paper, like this, or Tyvek is a polyethylene non-woven material. Here at Maihaugen we also use puck fleece. It's also a non-woven material, which is a little bit softer than Tyvek and also a little bit cheaper. Layer number 2 is meant to protect the climate in the packaging. There we use a polyethylene film. You can buy it on rolls or you can have it folded. It can also be a plastic bag. And if you have a bubble wrap, you can also use that. Make sure that the flat side is turned inside then. And then you also have some kind of cushion for this as a third layer. The third layer is meant to protect against vibration, mechanical forces, and can also be a help to carry and transporting and securing the packaging or the objects in the car or on a pallet. Normally you can use a regular cardboard box. Make sure that they are not standing on damp floors. Always place them at least 15 centimeters above the floor. There is also a special transportation frame for graphics and for paintings. There is a separate video about this on the homepage from Deffner and Johann, but also in the museum homepage from Lillehammer Museum, where you can see how to use it and where you can use it for. I'm now going to demonstrate the three-layer principle and an efficient way to work. I'm going to use improvised material, but you saw on the earlier videos which materials you might get from Berlin and from Deffner and Johann. The first layer is to protect against dust and scratches and fingerprints. In this case, we just use a tissue paper. And you try to avoid using tape or self-adhesive tape on the inner layer. Then we have the second layer. It's a plastic film to protect against climate changes. And as you notice, I'm using a bubble wrap here instead of a polyethylene foil, because when you are in a hurry, try to reduce the time that you need to do the different wrappers, and you also save some material. And as you noticed, I put the bubble wrap in the bottom, so I don't have to lift the object unnecessarily often. And I prepared tape, so I don't have to lose my grip. Remember, this is an emergency in disaster cases. So now we have a protection against fingerprints and dust. We have a climate protection. In order to make it more climate tight, you can tape all openings, but in this case the object is not very sensitive. Put it on a safe place, and you can also use alternative boxes. Here is a box from our storage that came with other delivery. You can also improvise cushioning material. You just take paper, put it in a garbage bag, and then you tie it together. And if it's too airtight, you will get air bubbles, but then you take your cutter, and now you have something soft that will shape after your object. You can fill the box and then put the object in here, make more bags and fill it around. And then you close it and you mark it on the outside with the inventory number. And when it's closed, you can use stretch foil, which I recommend because it's very fast, and you can be used for different shapes, like that. If you have very sensitive objects, you can place them in a bigger box. Close it and put it on a pallet, and you can remove it with a pallet mover. I hope this is a small help for your struggles, and that you can manage to pack as much as possible in the shortest possible time. Thank you very much.